Yesterday on Twitter, I put out the alert, the breaking news alert that Santa Claus had been spotted front-running a MACD cross-up on the daily under the mistletoe. We have seen now today that Santa Claus is being rewarded for his dip buy as we actually start to break this consolidation to the upside, now back above 44,000. We've made it back to that time of the year once again. It is the holidays, and things are going very well for the crypto market. Before we jump into the analysis, I started a new portfolio as sort of a project for my Patreon Discord. This was started a month ago, and we are up 30% in just a few weeks. We have a long list of altcoins in here, which you can gain access to by joining the Patreon. As I mentioned on Twitter, we have the MACD cross up that Santa Claus has successfully front ran, and we are breaking out ahead of Christmas. So we're getting a little bit of an early Christmas present here from the crypto market. One of the best indicators that is totally overlooked because people think it's like an indicator for noobs or something is the MACD, because the MACD can actually provide leading indicators for momentum shifts in the market. The MACD histogram, to be specific, whenever we're at a point where the trend is going to begin picking back up, a lot of times you'll notice we're at an area of negative momentum, seeing negative momentum, and then we start to build back into positive momentum, leading to a cross up and a major price swing to the upside. Bitcoin is doing that right now once again. And the question is, are we going to get that nice Christmas tree moving into the holidays? This pattern here, as you can see, the pattern completion zone, well, we've already completed the pattern because we broke out, but the pattern completion zone actually comes in right on Christmas. So it looks like we might see a green Christmas this year, and we might be able to see that MACD cross up moving into Christmas to give us that nice Christmas tree positive momentum here. And that would be a really nice gift for the new year. Now, what is the upside target going into this holiday season, into Christmas and New Year? Well, if we maintain this trend and we keep going up, the target that is most relevant to me is actually going to be the long-term falling wedge breakout target. This is what I have mapped out here on Kraken Pro. The width of this falling wedge, this is, by the way, the largest falling wedge in Bitcoin history. And according to the textbook, you measure the width of the falling wedge, place it on the breakout zone, and that gives you your target. We talked about this early this year in like February or so when we were actually looking at this breakout take place. And I made a video about the $52,000 level or the 50K level, and people were just telling me how crazy it was or how much of a moon boy I was for calling for that target. But it's amazing to see that Bitcoin is starting to play out, well, kind of a parabolic move now. The trend is gaining an exponential trajectory. We are getting exponential higher lows, and that is what a parabola is. So we also predicted a parabola at the beginning of this year, which of course, it seemed like it wasn't going to happen when we started to go sideways for a while. But regardless of how it came to pass, we are now going parabolic once again. Google, and you just type in parabolic trend diagram. You're going to get a few different diagrams. And such as this one here, you can see above me, we have multiple bases. Base 1, base 2, base 3, base 4, and then base 5 is the sell point. Now, there doesn't have to be 5 bases. There can be 3, there could be 10. It depends on how the trend plays out, but this is just a general idea of what to look for. And when you get to that vertical point after having formed multiple bases of support, that's where the trend likely dies down. So if we go back to the chart here, how many bases do we really have? I'll just say that this is probably base 1, this low point. The entire sideways range that we formed in 2023 is base 2, in my opinion, right? The curve is not coming in anywhere sooner, right? So this can only be base 2. Every base is pushing into the parabolic curve, right? Into the end of the curve. So this is base 2, which is quite exciting, I would say, for the bulls, because we have not yet even formed base 3. Base 3 could come in up here after we hit the falling wedge target. That is just a guess. It doesn't have to happen, but it is quite possible and quite likely that Bitcoin may be looking to form base 3 after hitting the falling wedge breakout target going up to base 3, and maybe getting some sideways consolidation going into, January, maybe February of next year, before once again punching up to base 4. And according to the textbook diagram, after base 3, you get a double in price, right? So it says after the X, right, base 3, the stock price doubles in a very short period of time. That actually brings us all the way up to about 96,500. That is the target of this theoretical parabola. Now, it's not a guarantee, and how will we know if it's not going to happen? If it's not going to happen, generally what you would expect is to see the price at some point break down out of this formation, break the curve, the parabolic curve, and then look for, a major price swing to the downside. The sell point, we would break the trend. Whenever you break that parabolic curve, it's very, very important to actually take it seriously. Of course, it sounds crazy. It always sounds crazy when, you hear somebody like me, an analyst on YouTube, mention these huge price targets, but it's really not that out of the question, right? We see these types of parabolic trends routinely throughout Bitcoin history. And if you're not in denial, right? There's a lot of people in denial right now. If you're not in denial, it looks pretty clear that we're starting to get towards that point. And instead of seeing just a straight up trend line, eventually you go parabolic. Very similar situation in 2020, 2021. You more or less just follow that straight line, that trend line up towards the all-time high zone, and then you go parabolic, exponential trend. We're already doing that. We have this straight trend line up, and now we're already getting that nice curve, that nice exponential curve to the upside. And so, it's just kind of staring me in the face right now. It is possible that the price could, let's say hit 52 or wherever the target is, and then come back to retest this trend line before getting up closer to the all-time high and then going parabolic, right? Then actually getting that exponential curve. So it is possible that we are sort of in this zone that appears to be going exponential, but sort of like in here, 2016, where it appears that we're getting that exponential curve off the trend line. We actually end up hitting the trend line again, then going up, and after the all-time high, going parabolic. I'm not just going to blindly say, we're going parabolic, we're going parabolic. I would like to give this sort of a warning that it could be that illusion of going parabolic before, maybe hitting that falling wedge breakout target and pulling back. Has it ever been a good idea to sell Bitcoin 4 months before the halving? No, it has never been a good move to sort of, exit the market 4 months before the halving. So it is a buy the dip zone. And I still see a lot of people on social media and in the Patreon Discord chat, whenever the price sees even just a little bit of downside, everyone gets scared and they're like asking if they should sell or something. Just look at what Bitcoin's doing before every halving. And we are now coming up on the halving once again. And let's just plot a vertical line on April 2024, the supposed area of the halving. And even if we did see some kind of dip going into the halving as is drawn on this chart, well, it's not a point to be scared. It's a buy the dip zone, right? It's just a buy the dip zone. In my eyes, when I look at this chart, I'm looking at this trend line and I'm thinking, Bitcoin could come back to the trend line at 35,500 and it's still an aggressive uptrend. It's still very bullish. So we're looking really good here for crypto. We're looking really good for Bitcoin. And when it comes to the altcoins, if you look at the total 3, you can see that we are in a very, very similar position as 2020. And that's giving us pretty much the same setup here as 2020. So even for the altcoins, the bull run has barely even started, right? So if you consider this point in the cycle and what happened after, there's still huge opportunity in the total 3. Everything excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, the bull run has not even started yet. And that is one of our focuses in the Patreon Discord chat. I don't really talk about altcoins on the channel here on YouTube, but we talk about altcoins a lot in the Patreon Discord. And we've been doing this for years, right? In the last cycle, this was posted January 26th of 2021, where we bought Polygon Matic at 4 cents. Most altcoins will not be doing this, but there is an opportunity to find one that could do it, and that's what we're trying to do in my Patreon. So join there, and once you get in, join the Discord, hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.